Hi, this is the Black Creative Handbook with your host, Cassandra Lauren Gordon, and I'm here with
Sherise Ford, the Six-Foot Publicist.
Okay, in about 2 sentences, tell us about yourself.
Well, I am Sherise Ford, the Six-Foot Publicist, and I am the CEO of the SheRise Enterprise, which is an entertainment company based in Beverly Hills, California, that specializes in helping entertainers and entrepreneurs learn how to use public relations and Instagram to raise their awareness and rise to new heights.
Great. I'm really looking forward to it because I feel like it's destiny why we're meeting today, because I need that life. I need that life. But instead of being selfish, if we're going to put it out to the community and get the knowledge. So before we get into how you help people, we do some quick fire questions, just random questions, just about your life, and then we'll get into it. So number 1, do you like toast or cereal?
Captain Crunch. I don't go with cereal.
Okay, I'm in the UK. So what does this Captain Crunch look like? What is it?
It's like this orange little yellowish square. Matter of fact, while you playing, I might have a box up here. And it has like this little captain guy on it. It's just really good. It's like sugary. It's not like a Frosted Flake or anything like that, but it's like a little square, little pouchy, sugary greatness. And it tastes really, really good with hemp milk.
Okay, now I know. So when I come over, I'll have some of that. Thank you very much.
Amazon, I'm pretty sure Amazon, you could probably order you some, girl.
I'm sure there's like a supermarket where they have the import a lot of American cereals. So I'll look out for it. It's an orange box, or is it what?
It's a red box.
It's
actually a red box, and the guy on it is a white guy, like cartoon character with a blue hat.
Okay, I'll look out for that.
It's really good.
Thank you. The next question I was going to ask you: are you an early bird or are you a night owl?
Whenever I get sleep, I would say that I am an early bird, even though I'm not a bird, but I wake up very early in the morning.
To catch the worm. All right. I'm going on with it. I'm just going with the flow.
No, of course. But I just know it's going to be people watching that know me, and I can't let that slide.
Okay. So you covered all your bases as a publicist. You put your image very well. For, whatever situation you want to say, you are an early bird. Okay, good. I got you. So the next question I'm going to ask you, are you an Apple person or are you an Android person?
I am now an Apple person because I had an account with Boost Mobile and I threatened to leave them, and their way of letting me stay or asking me to stay was to give me a free phone. I ordered the brand new Android, but the new iPhone came. And when I told them that I ordered the Android, they said, oh, well, just send it back. But we have no record of even sending you the iPhone. So I said, well, why would I send an iPhone that you have no record of sending me? Doesn't seem like I'm going to get my Android. So I just kept the iPhone, and now my laptop and everything connects, and I love it.
See, Apple by default, if you do what you're supposed to do, you give good customer service, you had good publicists and stuff like that, you lost out a customer. Okay, cool. I get you. What advice would you give your 8-year-old self?
My 8-year-old self, to just believe in myself and not allow other people's influence. I know that's a lot to say to an 8-year-old, but do not allow other people's influence to infiltrate what you believe about yourself. That's what I would tell my 8-year-old self, because I feel like at that age, that 8-10 age, like I was listening to the other podcast you did with Yao, but that 8 to 10 range is like those development time where, you really need to talk to yourself and instill that knowledge into yourself. And I would just really, really reiterate that to myself, that you are on the right path. Everything that you think is right, no matter what anybody else says, and just stick with that.
Okay. Could you elaborate a bit more? Because people will say believe in yourself, not an influence. So if you're trying to, you're in the inner child, what does that mean? What does that mean practically?
I feel that children know who they are, and adults or other people outside of them kind of influence them and get them to change their mind about their opinion about themselves. And that can sometimes be negative or positive. If the child is, you see that they're inhibiting behaviors, that they have low self-esteem, then encouraging them would be great. But sometimes, like me, I was a child that was very talkative. I was loud, I was outgoing. And kids like that, they try to tell you, calm down. You know, like you're too loud, but that was my personality. And even now that I'm older, I'm getting back to that. But it was a transitional stage where I was myself. Then I was what everybody else wanted me to be. Now I'm realizing, okay, I see the difference in that. And now I'm back to becoming myself again. But it's a process, which means that all of those years in between, I lost. So again, going back, talking to my 8-year-old self would just be like, just do what you want to do and don't let anybody tell you anything different. And the crazy thing is, my mother told me that growing up, but outside influences got me to change my mind and not believing in myself. So again, I listen to your mama, Sherise, your 8-year-old self, listen to your mama and make sure that you just believe in yourself and keep on that path, because everything that you're doing is right. You cannot make a wrong move. It's impossible.
Okay, I'm listening to that. You cannot make a wrong move. Okay.
No. And the reason why I say that is because any move that you make, you should learn from it. So if it's a positive outcome, then great. If it's an outcome that you weren't expecting or that you did not want, then there was a lesson in that you learned from. So it still wasn't a mistake. It was a point in that. There was a lesson that you need to learn from it. And I feel that, like I said, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that stuff that I used to feel like, oh, dang, I didn't get that job, or that didn't happen the way I wanted to. In hindsight, when I look back, there was a reason why that didn't work out. It was a good, like, even going back to when I was in school, I wanted to go do something. My mother told me no, I was upset. Looking back, that party got shot up. So her telling me not to go could have saved my life that night. You know what I mean? So all these things that we go through, we think that are negative, but if we take the time to sit in that and really look at it, we can find a lesson in it, which to me makes it positive. You can find a positive in any situation.
Understood. Wow. I felt very affirmed. Listen to that, because sometimes, even as an adult, I'm just like, should I do this? And then ask someone, and then I'm like, no, just do what my gut tells me to do, and just go with it.
Exactly. Because when you start asking other people, especially when you already have come to a decision for yourself and you're like, I should do this. And then you ask somebody else, the first thing they're going to say is no, because they didn't get the vision. You got it. You know you can do it. So you can't expect them to see what's inside of you. It's not out there yet. You got to do it.
Understood. All right. I'm listening. I'm taking it. I put it in a bottle. I'm going to drink it. It's going to be my freezer whenever I need it. I got you. I was going to ask you for the last question, is if you had an autobiography, what would the title be?
The Six-Foot Publicist Journey to Finding Her. I just threw that out there. But
it is what it is.
Yeah, but that's where I'm at right now. So if I was to write something, I always want to put my 6 feet in there, because I am 6 feet tall. A lot of people, that's like my staple, my thing, you know what I mean? And I am on a journey to finding myself. I think we all are. And I think that in everybody's story, hopefully we can find some common ground or some commonality that we can apply to our life. Like I said, there's a lesson in everything. So
thank you for that. So take us back to just before you became a publicist. What was the turning point? What were you doing, and how did you become one?
That's so funny. I actually, before I got into doing public relations and owning my own company, I actually was acting and modeling and singing. It was always my goal to be in front of the camera. So I was modeling on a gig for, I believe, Courvoisier. It was Courvoisier at the time. So I was modeling on a gig for Courvoisier, and I seen the guy that was going to pay me get paid by someone else. So I recognized, oh, this is a business. I don't know why, for some reason before then I didn't think about it like that, but I said, he called me to get some of the models. So then watching him get paid for my work, I'm like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? So actually that night I kind of slipped on in there, and Courvoisier became my account, and I had them for about a couple years, and I ran their West Coast division on any events and any promotions that they had out here. So that's pretty much what started me with my own company. And then, like, in the mix of that, I was at an event and I seen this lady. I was at an event, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it was called Midsummer Nights. It was a big event that I believe Magic Johnson used to do every summer. And I went to this event at this fancy hotel in Beverly Hills, and I was young. I was like 21, 22. And there was this Black lady there. She had this big smile on her face. Everybody was walking up to her, asking her questions. So it looked like she ran the place. But she didn't seem stressed, even though she looked like it was her event. And I was just like, who the hell is that? What does she do? Because I want to do that. And I walked up to her and I met her, and I just felt she was a publicist for the event. And her name was Echo Haddix from Echoing Sounds. And to this day, 10 years later, I still look up to her, and she's still my mentor. So that's how I got into the business. Really, like I said, looking at someone else getting paid and then seeing Miss Echo Haddix doing what she was doing and just wanting to be a part of that.
Okay, so I'm writing down two things. So one thing I hear is that you actively find opportunities and you capitalize on it. And then it's just the second thing is that confidence is just to go up to people as a creative. So can we tackle of this kind of skill, talent of like making these opportunities, creating them, not waiting for someone to give you a job? How do you do that?
You just do it, one foot in front of the other. I don't like waiting for things. I'm an impatient person. And I guess that's where it comes in. My impatientness comes in handy in the entrepreneurial space, because it makes me not want to wait for stuff. If I see that there is a gap and I can fill it, I'm going to create something that can fill that gap and then go collect my check. So that is definitely just like I say, just being able to see something, and how can you not help if you know you can help? And that's one thing about me, like idea person, that's me. So people come to me a lot for ideas. So just, it's a natural thing for me. I don't know how to not do this.
Okay. So people say sometimes to me, oh, Cassandra, you're so confident, and how do you do this, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, I didn't come like that from the womb. So how did you develop this trait? Because you're literally putting yourself out there. You are your business. This is not like a product. You like, how do you and mentally, probably you're going to get rejection, probably not, but how do you mentally put yourself out there?
I will say that it's definitely a struggle to put myself out there. And even though I do it, it's still a struggle. I still, even before coming on live with you, I'm sweating like, okay, here we go, about to get it ready. And I've done this 100 times, but it's still, you just have to get it done. I mean, it's a fake it till you make it situation. Because everything that I'm talking to you right now, and you were like, I'm putting it in the bottle and I'm gonna seal it. Girl, I'm talking to myself. Okay, let me just say that. I am very much so talking to myself. I don't have it all figured out. It's literally a day by day situation, a minute by minute. If I don't think about be confident on a regular basis, I will lose my confidence. And I've recognized that about myself. The more focused I am on my confidence, that's why I got my pyrite. I don't know. I know we have some visuals, but this is pyrite. And one of the pyrites, it's a stone, like a gemstone. And it's for confidence.
Oh, so you're into healing stones? I didn't know that. As a jeweler, I'm into stones. I didn't know. Okay, in my head, sorry, I thought it was like a jade, but now I'm glad that you told me.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, this is what I was told. Look, I went to the place and the lady told me she made it. So she told me that.
Oh, no. I believe. I'm looking thousands of miles away. So yeah. So thank you for saying that. There's a lot of things in this social media life, right? And I just want to just break down, what does a publicist, what is it, and what is PR, representation, a spokesperson, all of that business. Because sometimes for me in this life, or like a talent agent, like it gets confusing. So can you break down what a publicist is and what they do in 2022? That's what I want to know.
Of course. First, I will start with what public relations is, because I know people use public relations and publicist and publicity all interchangeably, and they all are all different things. So a public relations itself is the intentional management of your public perception. So we do this every day. We don't let people know the real us. We put on a face every time we walk outside the house. It's just a matter of you being intentional with what message and what you want people to see about you. So with public relations, we figure out what that message is going to be and what your story is, how to package that up and present that to the world. So we present to who you want them to see versus who it is that you are with all your flaws and all of that type of stuff. So that's what public relations is. It's managing what other people think about you, what they're going to say about you when you're not around. A publicist is the person that facilitates that. So I help someone like per se you, who has a podcast, I would be your publicist. I would help you design what your story is, the background behind your podcast, and then we would present you to whoever your target demographic is, to whoever you're trying to reach, to those Black creatives that you're trying to reach.
Okay, sorry, in my head, maybe there's a cultural thing. In my head, you're like the comms, you're like the comms person, you like the comms strategy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, it's communications. Public relations is strategic communications. That's exactly what it is. It's strategically communicating your message, strategically showing people what it is that you want them to see.
Gotcha. Is that the same person? This might be silly, same person as a spokesperson?
That is not the same thing as a spokesperson, although a publicist can be a spokesperson for a company. The spokesperson has information about the company and they're just a talking head. So they're I would say, dubbed or charged with speaking to the public about whatever is going on with the business or something like that. The publicist or the public relations side of things would be structuring what that looks like, coming up with that campaign and positioning them in a place where their message can be heard in that right environment.
Got you. Perfect. Thank you. And maybe one more silly question. It's about talent agents. The agents, like,
first of all, let me stop you because no questions are silly. The only silly questions is the one that you don't ask when you don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer to this. These talent agents, like people do like TikTok, the agents, like, is that a publicist or that
is also not a publicist. Okay. A talent agent and a publicist are two different things. A publicist, an agent may get you work. The publicist is going to let people know that you have that work so we can get you more work. So once you get that movie deal, once you're in that film, not everybody might see that film. So what we do is we make sure that other people know that that film's coming out by getting you interviews on radio stations, on TV, in different publications, things like that to boost up your name and the movie or whatever project it is that you're working on.
Okay. All right, I got you. Now I've got my PR relations PhD now. All right, I'm gonna ask you another question. Now, in this day of IG, social media, which are freeness, someone might say to you, devil's advocate, why do I need a publicist? Why? I've got my IG, I'm doing my IG model, I'm showing my butt, I'm getting these likes. Why do I need someone like you? Like,
I will say that you don't necessarily need to hire a publicist, but you do need to manage your public relations. So, and I say that because I know that when you're starting off and you're a new I work with new entrepreneurs and new entertainers. When you're starting off, it's hard to pay my $5,000 retainer every month. I require it 3 months regardless, you know what I mean? And that's minimum. So I understand that's a lot for some people. But again, every day, you do some form of public relations for yourself. Now it's time to become mindful of that and become strategic. And that's, again, where the public relations side comes in, but it's something that you can also do yourself. And I say that because I have an app where I teach you how to do it for yourself. Again, because like I said, I understand that not everybody can afford it, but it's something that you need. And the reason why you need a publicist is because a lot of people that post on Instagram, they post what they want to post and not what they should be posting. A lot of people say what they want to say and not what they should be saying. And that is the difference between public relations and then you doing it on your own. You're getting that structure and you're figuring out how to say something to get the end result that you want, how to leverage what you have going on so that you can move over to the next level. So that's the reason why you want to hire a publicist. There's certain things that you, or not even necessarily hire a publicist, but why you may need public relations. If you have your own business, you want to make sure that you're presenting that business in a way that's going to bring in your target demographic, your target clients, whoever it is that you want. You may not know how to do that on your own. A lot of people, when you start off a business, the thing that I hear from everybody when I ask you, so who do you want to listen to your podcast? I want everybody to listen to my podcast. Who is your podcast made for? My podcast made for everybody. No, it's not. It's not. But sometimes people don't think about it that way. So they end up marketing to everybody or putting their stuff out to everybody. And then they wonder why they hear crickets or why it's not going anywhere. Public relations brings in a little bit of structure with your communication so that you can make sure that the message that you're putting out there is actually the message that you want to deliver about you or your business.
There you go. While I'm listening to you, I'm just like, oh, don't look at my life. Don't look at my life. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Like, you have to start from somewhere, and it's about being strategic. And, you know, cut a long story short, I have another hat, you know, that I'm a jeweler, and there's a lot of stuff happening with the Black Lives Matter stuff, and I'm pro-black, but there was a thing where people just contacted me because I was Black and not because of the jewelry. And I'm just like, I was doing jewelry before May 2020. So I stopped doing interviews, stopped doing things, anything to do, because they were just using me.
They're using us right now.
Yeah, using me as the poster girl. Oh, really nice talking to this Black jeweler, this Black creative. Oh, amazing. And use me as sound bites. But you're not supporting me. You're not even supporting me or amplifying my voice. You just want to show that you've done something by just putting me into a little bite. So I have to be, because people will say to you, well, Cassandra, you get free press. Yeah, but what type of free press? It doesn't matter to me. Like, so it's interesting what you're saying. You can put out what you want, you can take press, but it has to be right for you and your values and for your brand. And I don't like when, so this is a tangent because it's topical. I didn't like over the last 2 years when they do this kind of KFC bucket list. So for instance, a publication like, these are 50 Black artists or entertainers you should be looking about. I'm just like, that's nice. But that's a big KFC bucket list when our white counterparts has a whole spread. Just so, right. I don't want identity. Anyway, that's enough.
Section this month.
Oh yeah,
that's what it's like. Black section this month.
Ah, okay, because your Black History Month is now. Sorry, because in England it's
last month. Well, yeah, are we still in February?
Yes, still in February. Got one more day left. You got the shortest amount of the but in England it's Black History Month is in October, so I'm just trying to.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's my birthday month. So hey now.
There you go. So we have October. At least you get I celebrate twice. Or even every day.
I was about to say, because every day needs to be Black History Day, okay? Because we've done a lot for this country and just the world in general. So to just give us 1 month when they basically, and then to give us a month is basically telling us that they have all 11 other months. So they just gave us this one, like, go ahead, y'all can have this, go ahead, sit over there and be quiet real quick. At least y'all got something. But like you said, that's a tangent. Let us stop.
That's a tangent. But it's important to be real. So like part of my values, say as a company, or, you know, for the podcast or what I do in my jewelry life, it's like being real. I cannot switch it off. I can't. If I'm like, oh yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for that one, for that byline. Oh, that wouldn't be real to me. That's not part of my brand. It's like being real, very, very respectful, and be aware of the world. But yeah, let me just slide into something better. So why I like talking to you, because you have I don't know if you say it in America, but like a service-based business. You are providing a service. Mm-hmm. And when I talk to a lot of creatives who they sometimes, it's not always like I'm doing like a painting or I'm providing a service. So taking back when you first started, how did you start from one account to get to X amount of accounts, and how did you do that? I'm guessing before we start, it's like a lot of pitching and stuff, but practically, how did you maneuver from getting one account to several accounts?
For me, it was not pitching, and I really don't like pitching. The only time I like pitching is if I'm pitching to the media for a client, but pitching myself to a client, I don't do that. I don't. If you don't know who I am and know my work already and want to work with me, I don't need to work with you. And that's fine with me, because I feel that I've done enough, and I do, like, most of my business is off of referrals. I don't actively go seek a client. That's just not my thing. I don't have to do that. I've been blessed that I don't have to do that. Again, I'm 6 feet tall. So when I walk into a room, I command attention. So, and I wear 4-inch or 5-inch heels on top of that. So I make sure that you can see me, and I feel like people kind of gravitate to me. They want to know what it is that I do. And once they find out what it is that I do, they're like, oh, I need a publicist. Can you be my publicist? That's literally how I've gotten most of my business. I don't too much. And then most of the times when I'm made to pitch, it never works out. So I've just gotten to the point where I'm not pitching. Either you want to work with me and you're coming to me, tell me you have a budget and this is what you need from me, and we can work out the steps to do it. But me trying to pitch myself for you to be my client, I'm not doing that.
Okay, I hear you. So it's nice when people, I don't have to go out for it. Like I don't do any Facebook ads or anything like that. So when anyone comes to me like for articles or anything, and then they heard from me, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. There's something about which I've learned recently, or I didn't really think about it. It's like your environment, so your network, right? So I'm guessing because you get all of these referrals and you meet all these people, entertainers, how do you strategically put yourself in those places, knowing that you might see a future opportunity? That's what I'm trying to get at.
I don't know how to really answer that question. I mean, anytime that I go out of my house, I am going out to network. I don't often like leaving my house just to leave. It's normally going with purpose. So I'm going literally with that purpose that I'm going to go meet some people. I'm going to go make some connections. I'm going to see who I can meet. And that's my purpose for going out that night. So going out with purpose, I'm going to always have the results that I want. So maybe I guess that's how you could say it, go out with purpose and know what it is that you're looking for, what kind of connections you're looking to make. I just went to Landon Brown's premiere party. So he is Bobby Brown's son, and he's now coming out with his own album. He's a singer now. When I was invited to the event, I said I wanted to go because one, I've known Landon for a while, but it was a chance for us to reconnect. And then the other people that were there, I knew a few people, and I was like, I'm going because I want to meet this person. I need to reconnect with this person. And I got so many contacts that night. It was beautiful. Like whenever I go out with purpose like that, it's always the best results. I always make contacts and I always get something from it.
So you said it so eloquently. Maybe I didn't phrase it properly, but it's about what you just said, going out with purpose. So what I'm trying to do, this is me, what I've learned through the podcast. So I need to give you a bit of history why I got to this. So because I started out as a jeweler, I'm very solitary. I'm in my bench, I make the jewelry, I live my life, just apart from talk to customers, and that's it. But what I realized, the more I network, the more I talk, or when it's very informal, like parties or, gatherings, right? That's where the work. So that's what I'm trying to do. It's hard with this COVID life now, but now things are opening now. I need to be like you, go out with purpose. And sometimes I don't want to leave my house because I can't be bothered because of 2 years. It's hard. Like if it's not money moves or it's not corporate, why am I coming out my house? It's hard. But anyway, I've got to put myself out there. I'm going to be like you, put myself out there, right? All right, I'm trying to phrase this in the most nicest way. How do I network with purpose when where I can't see, where I'm not kind of invited? Where do I find these events where I can get invites, or these PR people give me free invites? That's what I'm trying to sneak it. That's what I'm trying to say to you, because I need to make friends with these people who got those tickets to those premieres. I'm like, how did that influencer get there? What? Oh, PR agency.
Yes. Well, this is what I will say. And it's funny that you asked that question, because I was mentioning this before. I have my own app where I'm teaching people, entertainers and entrepreneurs, how to use PR and Instagram. But in addition to that, inside of the app, I have an events section where I upload all of the events that are going on, and I provide you with the contact information for those people that are producing that event so that you can submit yourself. A lot of people think that you just show up at an event, you're just supposed to get in. There's like literally a submission process. With every single event that you see, there's a submission process. So you have to figure out who the coordinator of that event is, and then you have to submit yourself and ask them if they are willing to provide you with an invite. And then you move on from there. But finding those events, I would say, like, just like you say, oh, that is their publicist, contact that publicist, introduce yourself and get on their radar. That would be the simplest way to do it for free. That would be the free way to do it. Otherwise, you can look up press releases, different press releases. If there's a big event going on, they always do a press release. Find the press release, find the contact information there at the bottom of the press release. Google.
Google's our best friend, man. Google University, YouTube University. Yeah, one day I get sponsored by Google, but Google and YouTube. Yeah, I'm telling you, because it's just like, actually, I feel like I can't explain, like, talking to you. It's just like my brain is going crazy, because it's just like, whenever I've like tried to like, let's have an email, let's talk on LinkedIn, and it's cold, it's like, but when it's just, I'm in that room. Once I'm in that room, that's when the magic happens.
Exactly. I was just telling people that recently I just did another interview, and I was saying that with COVID, I felt like stifled a little bit, because like, that's how I get my contacts. Like I'm six, like I need you to see I'm 6 feet tall. I can't tell you I'm 6 feet tall. You have to see I'm 6 feet tall. That's how I make my connection. So it really like punched me in the gut, not being able to go outside and make those connections. So now that everything's opening back up, but again, if something's not working out for you, like at one point, everybody was down. You couldn't do anything. So I could not go to events. There was nothing that I can do. The only thing that I can do was bring the event to me. So I had to go online. That's why I had to start going online and going live and putting myself out there more, because I was losing myself. That's how I make my connections. And that gives me life to talk to other people and interact with them and do like I'm doing right now with you, giving you information and letting you know how to build your business up. Like, this is what fuels me. And not being able to do that and being locked in my place, and I live by myself. I have no kids. It's just completely me. That got like, whoa, wait a minute, hold up. Can't let that depression sink in, because other mind stuff, So for me, it was like, okay, the only way that I know to get back to myself when I can't go outside is to get online and go live. Like, you just have to find something to put yourself out there.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Because sometimes I feel like a bit weird, because before COVID, I was extrovert. I'm going outside every weekend. But I'm now like, do I have to come out my house? Why? I have to question, why am I going on a dusty tube? I live in London, so you have to underground.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I just can't. But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm going to be back into like an extrovert. Give me a couple of months. I hope it's not World War III, but give me a couple of months and I'll be okay.
I say the same thing too. I had a client who was also like a best friend of mine, Teck Holmes, and he's on TV right now on Paramount Plus, the Challenge All Stars. But years ago, he used to always tell me like, hey, when I get on TV, I'm gonna hire you. He used to always tell me like, I love the way you answer the phone. I just love how professional you are. I'm gonna hire you. Boy, whatever. You ain't about to do nothing, whatever. So apparently, like, he actually did it and he hired me. The time when he hired me, he was the type that he said, if I'm not being paid, I don't want to go out. So for the years that I was working with him, he hired me as his assistant. Even though I was a publicist at the time, I was working with like Master P, and like I was doing my thing at that time, but I was getting paid by him more to go pick up his dry cleaning. And on top of that, I didn't have to go anywhere unless I was being paid. Oh, let me go over here and sit down. So that is what made me turn into an introvert. Now it's like, I'm the same way as him. Like, if I'm not being paid, I don't want to go out. But for me, going out is how I got paid. So I couldn't be like him. And I got into that mode where I tried to be like him. And it just, now, like I said, now getting back to my 8-year-old self, getting back to my extrovert, and getting back out there and putting myself back out there again. Because that's the part that fuels me. That's the me, getting out there and being in front of people.
So you kind of put some names out there like Master P, Tony Bio, Romeo, Wendy Williams, all these campaigns. So how did you get into this national coverage and all these well-known A-list celebrities? Like, how did that happen?
Again, being in the right room and meeting the right people. I've always been loud. Just recently, like I say, I had turned into like an introvert, but I'm always the life of the party. Like in school, when nobody else was dancing, I'm in the middle of the floor, like, y'all better come on and get it going, because we about to get, like, that's just me. So naturally, literally people just come up to me and I just meet people. People always want to know who it is I am. And I, like I say, because I'm so tall, they just assume that I'm somebody. They don't know who, but they want to walk. They'll people, celebrities, people like, don't I know you? Or, you know what I mean? And they're like, and they're like, well, maybe it's just the way you carry yourself. That's what I'm always told. It's the way you carry yourself. I carry myself like I'm somebody because I've learned that when you carry yourself like somebody, people think you somebody.
What does that mean? Sorry, because I know what it means, but what does that mean? Does that make sense? Because
that is walking into a room with confidence. Even if it's a room full of people and they're just about to all turn around and look at you, that could be like the most frightening thing. Like, everybody's looking at me right now. I walk into the room expecting that. And matter of fact, I want you to look at me. I am here. I have arrived. If you come in with that attitude and not even like on an egotistical type thing, like I'm very much not like I'm beautiful and you're gonna look, it's not that type of, it's a confidence that I have to have when I step into a room in order for me to network and do what I do. But again, that starts like before I walk into the room, I have to it took me a while to get like this. I'm 6 feet and I love it now. Not when I was in school. People made fun of me. All the things that they made fun of me before when I was younger, I embrace now and I love, because it's helped me become the person that I am and build my business up to what it's become. But it took me learning that. Like I say, like, you got to go through some things in order to figure out what's what. So now I'm at a position where I know that when I step into a room and I have that confidence about myself, that it shows. People see the confidence. I don't have to say anything. It's automatically there.
Okay, understood. Because I'm just thinking like, you're strategically for entertainment in like one of the best places. You're in Beverly Hills, you're in Hollywood, you're meeting people. So it just seems like you have, I keep using the word strategic, really thought about it. And I think I'm just reflecting for me. I don't think before I really thought about that. I'll just go to an event and that's it. And I don't really think about it. I'll chat to people, but being strategic, having someone like who does comms or, being a publicist is very important, because you cannot waste your time. We know that time is precious. You have to make an impact.
That's something that I'm actually, I'm putting together a course right now about how to get invited to red carpet events like a pro. And that's, like you say, like one of the things is like, have you ever been to an event and yeah, you were at the event, but nothing came from it? Like, that's the difference between having a publicist or working with a publicist and not, because that publicist is going to be the person to say, let's get you on this red carpet. Let's make sure that you're interviewing with this person. They're going to, while you're talking to this person, they're down here talking to other media outlets, telling them about you. So that way, by the time that you move down to that part, you have another interview lined up. We're talking to other people into the party. That way you don't have to do it, because a lot of creators are inside themselves, believe it or not. I find that a lot of creators are sometimes introverts, and they don't necessarily, even though they make music and they're like, woo, let's go. They don't want to talk about themselves. They don't really want to go out. So they need that person next to them to be like, hey, this is my client, such and such, and this is what they do. And this is why you need to talk to my client. And it's always better to have a representative do that for you, instead of you being like, hey girl, my name is Cassandra and I got my own podcast. Like, no, it's better for me to say, this is my girl, Cassandra. She has her own podcast and you need to be on her. That's a whole different feel.
Why? Sorry to interrupt, but why? Tell me that.
And that's what I was going to say. That's the difference between public relations. Public relations is someone else saying, Cassandra's podcast, the Black Creative Handbook, that's amazing. Marketing or advertising is you saying that you're good. Is you saying, I have the best podcast in the world. The difference where public relations comes in, and that's the difference too, because a lot of people don't even understand the difference between advertising and public relations. They think it's the same thing. So public relations is earned media. Public relations means you've done such a good job that people want to write about you, that they want to tell their friends about you. They want to just tell other people about you. Marketing and advertising is when you pay for somebody to do that. You're paying for an ad to say that you're the best. You're paying for an ad inside of this magazine. The difference that it's like a commercial. We don't look at commercials really anymore, unless it's the Super Bowl. But most of the time we see a commercial, that's the time we go take a potty break, we go make some food. Like, that's not where it's at. So it's all comes together. Does it make sense?
Absolutely earned. Okay. You earn your spot. You earn your spot. That makes sense. Yes. And I was just going to have a question talking about the press, because Oh boy, it's hard. It's hard getting that earned. I'm sure your courses and your app will go through that, but I'm just telling you, it's hard because I was chatting to a PR firm influencer PR firm recently in the UK, and I'm saying like I'm a jeweler, right? And some jewelry companies, very high-end jewelry companies, will pay journalists, go on helicopter rides, holidays, breakfast at Tiffany, all this, and I'm like, and sometimes the advice they would give, if you want to be with a journalist and get them to get your stuff, just say, do you want a coffee? I'm like, how can I compete with helicopter rides, all of that stuff, and just say to them, hey, do you want to go on Zoom? Do you want to go on a coffee? And I'm just like, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. They just look at me like I'm an idiot. Just look at
I mean, you know what? This is the thing about us publicists. We are not, although we pitch to the media, it's not just pitching to the media. We develop relationships with the media. And that's what I recommend. And that's what I teach my clients and my students to do, is to build a relationship. Don't pitch yourself. Don't say, hey, I'm a jewelry designer and I want you to write about my jewelry. It's figuring out what your common interest is with that person and then making a connection so that you can build a relationship. So that way, when you do say, hey, can you write about me, or can I give you this? It's a little bit more like, oh, sure, girl, because we're friends now. We have a relationship. So like, that's the difference between just going out and like just all right pitching and developing a relationship with someone. And as a jeweler or as an entrepreneur, what you want to do right now is develop those relationships. And it's okay to say, go have coffee with somebody, but you also want to make sure that you're contacting, you don't want to just hit them up and be like, let's go have coffee. To me, that seems like a little like contrived, you know what I mean? Like, I think like, what you want to go have coffee for, what you want to talk about, you know what I mean? So if that's the case, and you want to say, let's go have coffee so we could talk about X, Y, and Z because blah, 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 you know what I mean? But the other way to go around that is to use social media, use Instagram, which is why I say use public relations and Instagram. Use Instagram to make those connections, to reach out to those journalists, to get on their radar. So that way, when you do slide into their DM or when you slide inside their email, they've already been talking to you on social media. So they're going to answer you now. You have more likelihood of them saying yes to something that you're pitching versus you just pitching off top and they've never heard about you before or anything like that. So building those relationships is going to be key.
okay, all right, I'm trying to do that. I don't know, I'm just trying to picture myself like, where are they, post COVID, where are these journalists? And they go to these snazzy events. So I'm just thinking I might have to go to these PR firms and like, hey, me, let me in. And then I'll see those journalists. I mean, I'll see those press.
I mean, that's one way to go about it, but it's kind of like, why are you going through a third party to get to what you want? You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to get to a journalist. Why not go to the journalist? What you going to somebody else for? You know where they are. You read the magazine that you want to be in. Their name is inside the magazine. It's called a byline. That we were just talking about that. Like, that byline right there, that's gold. That's how we create our media list. Like, you could buy media lists and you can get contact information. I've spent thousands of dollars buying media lists with hundreds of journalists on there, but they had every different demographic and they were in every different beat. Some were beauty, some were sports. In order for you to really be successful at getting publicity for yourself, you need to really do your research and make sure that the person that you're contacting really, really wants to write about you. Anybody that you're contacting needs to they love jewelry. That's what they talk about. Their fashion and not just fashion, because fashion is clothes, fashion is a whole bunch of different things. Specifically jewelry. You want to find that journalist that their passion is writing about jewelry. They're out there. That's what they love. That's all they write about. The top 10 earrings, the top 5 rings, that's who you're looking for. You're looking for that name. And then you go research that person on social media, and then you make that contact. And then you develop that contact, that relationship. You build that relationship by just keeping in contact with them. And now you can go ahead and ask for that coffee, or you can go ahead and pitch yourself, but you build that relationship first, figuring out that they're the person that is likely to write about you. When I first started off, I would write a press release and just send it out to all of those people, those thousands of people. Again, I'm in the entertainment industry. Why am I sending stuff over to sports and fashion and all of this other kind of stuff? I was getting crickets and wondering why I wasn't getting any answers. The best thing that I did was for me to pick up a magazine or to go on a blog or go on a website and figure out, oh, this person wrote about Black women in the entertainment industry. They may likely write about me, a Black woman in the entertainment industry. Let me pitch myself to that person. Let me build that connection there because they're in my realm. They're in my wheelhouse already.
Understood. Can I just gently challenge you one more thing about lovely media and journalists, what I found out in the last couple of, I might get it wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. I have the confidence to get it wrong. So you do the masthead, you find them, they work at this magazine or this whatever. What I realized, some of them, cheeky, they have their, say, code NAS, like the, you know, the,
right.
But they don't use it. Sometimes they use their personal, because they get so much emails going there, right? And then everyone's working from home. So if I go down, I live in London. So if I go to the head of Code NAS for London, I'm not going to get past security. So I'm just like, where are you, journals? Where are you?
You don't want to go straight for the editor because, like you say, they're probably going to be busy, but you can go to like a staff writer. You can go to somebody that's under them. So again, like, you have to do your research. You're going to have to do your research. There's no way around it. But if you do we Google people. That's what we do. We Google queens. Use Google. Type in the name of the magazine, type in jewelry, and then see what name pops up. Who's writing about that? And then contact that person. It's literally that simple. People make it seem harder than what it is. And all you got to do is just keep pitching. They might say no, you might not get anything back. Keep pitching, keep going and going. Eventually, somebody's going to say yes, somebody's going to reply back to you. And one's going to lead to another one, which is going to lead to another one. And then it's just going to keep going. You just have to have the confidence to put yourself out there.
It's that perseverance, isn't it? It's that resilience. Yeah. I think being a creative and, you know, having especially a service-based business where you're providing first your time, your valuable time, just got to put yourself out there. Yeah. So I'm inspired. I'm going to take it. So before we go, I just wanted to make sure that we talk about, I think you kind of went on it, but talk about a good testimonial, like one of your clients have said about you or what people have said about your services.
I feel like what people say about me all the time is I offer a lot of free information, and people are always surprised at the fact that I offer free information, but I'm just a helpful person. And that's what I get from everybody. Like, you just really want to help. Like, I honestly just want to help. Like, if I know something can help you out, I'm going to tell you. And I feel like that is what gets me my business, because I'm so willing to give you the information for free and willing to tell you how to do it. If I could tell you how to do it, that means I know how to do it. And then most of the time they're just like, oh, let me just pay you to do it. So that's always, that's always my thing. I love helping people. People tell me that all the time. They see that in me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I would say that's definitely a big one.
Well, you definitely helped me to make me think about my public life, my image life. I'm like, oh gosh, I just can't just roll up online and just do what I want. I can't do that. Right. I think about it differently. So yeah, thank you so much. No, I'm just trying to think of anything else. No, you just gave so much good gems. I just can't even find anything else I want to say. But yeah, thank you so much for giving this great depth, value, advice to help people just to think about their public image, because I think in this age, image is everything. Image is everything now. So people go ahead.
I was going to say with Instagram right now and everybody doing things for clickbait and for the likes and all of that type of stuff, like, I think that it is very important, if you're trying to be an entertainer or an entrepreneur, for you to have your public relations package together. Make sure that you know exactly where you're heading with that, because if not, you're going to be doing any and everything for those likes and those clicks. And the thing about having your public relations plan together is you have strategic goals, and you make sure that anything that you're doing is always going to be related to that goal. So you'll never find yourself just doing something just to be doing it. Again, it's always mindful and it's strategic in everything that is that we're doing. So I think that structure, if you're looking to be bigger than what you are, then focusing on your public relations and making sure that you're presenting yourself how you want to be, like, that's key.
So on that note, we leave it there. But we're going to put everything in the show notes. Where can people find you, connect with you?
Yes, if people want to find me, you can always find me on Instagram. That's where I go live, and I'm there the most at SheRise ENT, SheRiseENT. And you can also find me on my website, which is sheriseford.com, SheRiseFord.com.
There you go. It's a great publicist way, very succinct, straight to the point. All right, this is the Black Creative Handbook with your host, Cassandra Lauren Gordon, and thank you, Sherise. Speak soon.